Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, I'm Melody. I discuss fragrances here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If that's something you are interested in, please subscribe down below. Today I am going over my thoughts on the Sephora favorites vanilla or best of vanilla box set. So I've gone through and tested all of these fragrances, and I will give you my thoughts and which one I purchased. So please keep watching. I love getting these Sephora favorites boxes because they come with a voucher for a free bottle of fragrance and several different samples, and often I'm trying things that I haven't tried before. They always come with a little information on each of the fragrances, and so I went through, and I have honestly smelled a lot of these before, but the price of the box is $68, and almost all of these fragrances cost, for the full-size bottle, cost more than that. So it's a great deal either way, and you still get an opportunity to test out several fragrances. So I played with these for the last week, and I took some notes on them and I put them in here, and I'm just gonna go over what I thought. I think I'll start by going from my least favorite to my most favorite, and then sharing which fragrance I chose. So the one I liked the least was Nest's Madagascar Vanilla. It's actually not a perfume, but a perfume oil. So I don't know if that had anything to do with how it performed on my skin, but when I tested this on my skin, it straight up smelled like Play-Doh. Not, oh, it's sort of like a Play-Doh smell that you hear described, like Hypnotic Poison gets described as Play-Doh. I'm trying to think of some other ones, but that's the one I remember the most that people say. And I've tried that one, and I totally get that Play-Doh vibe, but it has a Play-Doh vibe. This straight up smelled like my daughter smeared Play-Doh on me, and it wasn't like a Play-Doh-ish smell. It just smelled like Play-Doh. So the main accords of this one are vanilla, coconut, sweet, powdery, lactonic, and floral. The top notes are vanilla bean, the middle notes are vanilla orchid, and the base notes are coconut. It, at first, just from like a little paper dabber, which is how I started with all of these, it smelled like a very true vanilla scent, and it was a little underwhelming, is what I wrote. But it was not underwhelming on my skin. On my skin, it smelled exactly like Play-Doh, and was very unpleasant. That's not a scent that I want to smell like. So this went in my 9th place spot. I forgot to mention, however, that this one, a full bottle of this would be a 1 fluid ounce bottle, and that goes for $98. So as far as value goes, $68 for the box, and then $98 if you happen to choose that. I think that's actually a really great deal. I do take into account, as I'm testing these, the value of the bottle as well. So if there are several that I'm really interested in, I will still keep that in mind to make the most thoughtful purchase I can. But this one was just definitely a no. So next we actually have one that just came in like a basic little cardboard thing. It's Atelier Cologne's Vanilla INSENSEE, or Vanille INSENSEE. This one actually is currently on sale at Sephora, 30% off. So it only makes this bottle $48. So that is not a good deal. Beyond that, I didn't like this fragrance at all. It smelled a little smoky and woody on a card, and I did think I would like it. I enjoyed it there, but once I sprayed it on my skin, it was a like unsweetened, very dry vanilla smell. I think the dryness came from that vetiver and the oak moss. It is a woody vanilla, and I do think it's interesting because so many vanillas are very, very sweet, and this one has no sweetness to speak of. It is just a very dry, woody, kind of slightly airy from that oak moss. The main accords for this one are vanilla, woody, citrus, aromatic, earthy, powdery, sweet, amber, soft, spicy, and mossy. The top notes are lime, citron, and coriander, middle notes of vetiver, oak moss, and jasmine, and base notes of vanilla, oak, and amber. So when I sprayed this on me, I didn't get any of those top notes. I didn't get any citrus from the lime. Um, it just went straight into a very dry, woody vanilla. It's interesting that the main accords say sweet. I never got any sweetness out of this. It was just a very kind of harsh vanilla. I don't know exactly how to describe it. There's no cozy, warm sweetness that vanillas often have. So if you're kind of sick of those, this might be for you, but it was a little off-putting to me. It's just not a fragrance that I really liked. So that's why this one is in my 8th place. So now we get to the ones that I actually do start enjoying. So in my 7th place, I put Floral Street's Wild Vanilla Orchid. It is a 1.7 fluid ounce bottle for $84. I actually really enjoyed this fragrance, but let me go over the main accords first. So it's vanilla, woody, floral, powdery, soft, spicy, aromatic, fresh, citrus, sweet, and fruity. The top notes are vanilla flower, cassis, and citruses, middle notes of flowers, bamboo, and jasmine, and base notes of vanilla bean, sandalwood, orchid, and patchouli. So when I first sprayed this on a card and I took some notes, I wrote that it was totally different and very unique from like any other vanilla I had smelled. It actually smells like a cut garden. And I wrote down that I think it's dahlias. It just has flowers on it, but to me it smells like dahlias. However, I'm looking and it says dahlia is a fantasy floral note, but my grandparents had a really large garden and there was a section that was just for cut florals and it was primarily dahlias, and to me this smells like a cut bouquet of florals. Specifically reminded me of my childhood in my grandparents' garden. So I don't know that that is the case, that it is dahlias, but that's what it smells like. It really smells like a very fresh cut floral bouquet that you've just picked up and you've put in a nice vase. It is very beautiful in that way, but it doesn't really remind me much of a vanilla. There is vanilla. You get a little bits of wafts of it as the florals start drying down, but it is still very floral and green. Honestly, the reason I think of it as like a cut bouquet is there is still some greenness in here, but the vanilla does cut that down. It is very unique. I'd consider picking it up. However, it brings back scent memories that I really enjoy. I just don't know that I want to smell like it all the time. It would be something worth maybe having like a little travel spray or something along those lines so I could occasionally go back and smell it. It reminds me of my childhood and all those happy memories of being in my grandparents' garden, but I don't think I'd want to regularly smell like that. So that was why this one was placed so low. Next, I put Valentino Donna Born in Roma. I think I've mentioned multiple times that in general, I'm unimpressed by this fragrance. People love it so much, but I really don't quite get it. So the main accords for this one are woody, vanilla, fruity, soft, spicy, powdery, white floral, floral, musky, green, and sweet. The top notes are blackcurrant, pink pepper, and bergamot. Middle notes of jasmine, jasmine sambac, and jasmine tea. Base notes of bourbon, vanilla, cashmere, and guaiac wood. So I actually took a lot of notes on this fragrance because I really want to figure it out. I love the bottle. I don't dislike the fragrance, but there's something about it that keeps me from picking it up. But I really wanted to kind of make a final determination on this fragrance, so I had a lot of notes on here. So that's what I'll be doing, is looking down. So when I first tested this on a card, I wrote down that it came off as fruity, tart, and slightly aromatic. And then I did write, I think I liked it more than I originally gave it credit for. However, on the skin, it opens up tart and slightly generic. That's what it is. To me, there's nothing that unique about this. It smells like a lot of other fragrances out there. And I don't get much vanilla at all. I don't know that this should be classified as a vanilla fragrance. I think of it as like a fruity floral, primarily with the blackcurrant and then all of the jasmine. And then in the base, it has some vanilla in it. But I find that there are so many fragrances that use vanilla in the base, but they aren't classified as vanilla fragrances. So to me, I don't know why Sephora would call this a vanilla. In fact, there are a few other fragrances on here that I wouldn't first classify as a vanilla. But as I was wearing this, I kept thinking that it reminded me of other things, and why to me it smelled sort of like a generic fragrance that you would find anywhere. And I think part of that is the blackcurrant. The blackcurrant reminds me of the opening of C, and I don't care for any of the C fragrances. I've tried all the flankers. I'm really trying to understand why everybody loves it. It smells really good at like the very beginning, and then it does something weird on my skin. I'm not the biggest fan of blackcurrant, but I love the bottle of this one. I just think it's really pretty, and so I really want to like this, and I don't dislike it, but it just does not wow me enough to purchase a full bottle. So that's why this one is in 6th place. In 5th place, I put Black Opium. So Black Opium's main accords are vanilla, coffee, sweet, warm, spicy, white floral, soft, spicy, fruity, woody, powdery, balsamic. The top notes are pear, pink pepper, and orange blossom. Middle notes of coffee, jasmine, bitter almond, and licorice. Base notes of vanilla, patchouli, cedar, and cashmere wood. I think everybody has heard about or knows about this fragrance. It is super, super, super popular. At first, didn't like it. I felt like it was very synthetic, and the coffee note is way too strong. Not in a like harsh, bitter strong, but like in a syrupy, frappuccino kind of strong. But as I was wearing it, I kind of enjoyed that very decadent, sweet coffee smell that it had, and I almost wish it lasted longer. It goes into some white florals, and I do actually really like white florals, but I almost feel as though I just want, in this particular fragrance, I just want the coffee the whole way through. I kind of wish this was a more linear scent. I know that's rather silly. Most people tend to want a more complicated fragrance, but for me, in this case use and what I'd want out of this fragrance, I would really prefer that it just stay very kind of sweet, rich coffee fragrance, as opposed to like that dying down and it coming into like a lot of florals. I already have something like that. I have the only one, and it is a caramel coffee floral scent, but I think those blend better. I think this one is a little bit choppier. It's like coffee in the beginning, then it's white floral, then it's vanilla. I don't think they are meshed well together, and so I think that's probably why I'd rather this just be a rich coffee scent. I feel like the only one, while it has a caramel, so it ought to seem sweeter, something about that just comes off more natural. Like there's a natural coffee sweetness to it. But I think there is a time and place for this one. But I kind of only really enjoy the opening, so that's why this one was in 5th place. Sorry, my camera cut out. So, yeah, I really love FLOWERBOMB, and I actually think that this was a good value for 1 fluid ounce. It's $88. And the box was $68. However, I think you can get this at FragranceNet for about $60 or $70. So, still, I don't think it's the greatest deal, and that was part of the reason I put it so low. I think there's part of this that it's just one of those fragrances that I really like, but there's so many others I like, so I keep pushing this one off. Even fragrances that I've blind bought, I'm like, well, this is the last time I can get that fragrance, but I can always rely on FLOWERBOMB to be there. I mean, I don't know that to be the case, but I think in the back of my mind, that's kind of how I feel. I honestly do like the scent. I think the patchouli is done really well in there. This is almost like a gourmand without necessarily being a gourmand. There's nothing necessarily gourmand about it. It's all just, I mean, a bunch of flowers, but it's done in such a way that makes them so sweet, and there's something really comforting about the patchouli and the musk and even the vanilla with the florals. This is honestly like a really spectacular, albeit maybe overused fragrance. There's so many people who wear it. But I like so much of the selection of them. But it's one that I have a hard time just biting the bullet and purchasing, because there are so many to choose from, and they are so similar, it almost seems redundant. So I kind of I have this like analysis paralysis where I'm like, oh, I want to purchase one. Do I get FLOWERBOMB? Do I get Nectar? Now Ruby Orchids come out, and so that one I even like, and I think it doesn't have the patchouli, so it still has that FLOWERBOMB kind of essence to it, but it doesn't have the patchouli, which is the part that I tend to have the most trouble with. So it is a little silly, but this is in 4th place for that reason. Also, I was looking for vanilla, and to me this isn't a vanilla fragrance. So I was strictly looking primarily at vanilla when I was picking a vanilla fragrance. And so for me, this just really isn't, in my mind, classified as a vanilla. So that's why it's in 4th place. So it came down to these 3. These were my top picks. These were the ones that I was really considering and trying to figure out which one I wanted. I believe all 3 of these are also kind of exclusively sold at Sephora. So my 3rd place is 7 Virtues Vanilla Woods. I recently did a 7 Virtues discovery kit video, so I'll link that up here if I remember, or down below in the description. This was my favorite of all the 7 Virtues fragrances. Let me go over the main accords first. So it's vanilla, caramel, sweet, amber, powdery, fruity, and balsamic. The top notes are pear, middle notes rose, base notes vanilla, caramel, and amber. So when I got down to this final 3, I sprayed them on my skin and had my husband and my daughters give their opinions because I was a little uncertain. I wasn't sure where I was going to put them, but for my husband, he said this smelled kind of weird and fruity. That was all he said about this one. Weird, fruity. He's like, do I get orange? And I said, no, I think it's the pear. So at the very beginning, I get a fresh pear opening, but it quickly dries down on me and starts getting very woody. In fact, it also gets a little smoky. I'm not sure if that's coming from the amber, but there is a time in which my 2nd place, Replica, and Vanilla Woods smell very similar. So this one starts getting woodier as By the Fireplace starts to dry down and get a little creamier. And they meet in the middle. And so to me, they vibe very similar. I know they're very different, and a lot of people get a lot more pear out of this one. But for me, the pear only lasts a little while, and then it gets very woody and smoky, and it kind of stays there and it lingers there. There's no mention in the notes of any woods. However, the fragrance is called Vanilla Woods. So it, to me, has that very woody vanilla scent, and it's still up there as a fragrance I really want to purchase. So I really enjoyed this one. Next, as I mentioned, in 2nd place, I have By the Fireplace. So the main accords for this are woody, vanilla, balsamic, warm, spicy, amber, powdery, nutty, and musky. Top notes are cloves, pink pepper, and orange blossom. Middle notes of chestnut, gaiac wood, and juniper. Base notes of vanilla, Peru balsam, and cashmere. So the first time I actually tried this in the stores, I didn't understand the hype, but once I wore it again, like on my skin, I immediately loved it. It brings back all sorts of memories of going camping with my family and being around a campfire, and then as it dries down, it smells more like you're roasting marshmallows. There's like a softness and like a sweet creaminess to it. It's a beautiful fragrance. However, my husband did make a good point. He said, is this going to be like a regular scent? He's like, because it smells like a campfire. He's like, wow, those are great memories. He's like, it just kind of smells like you smoked. Like, you have this like dirty smoky scent. So, while I don't 100% agree, and I would love to smell this, it is a very specific kind of scent. And he is right. This is probably not a fragrance that I'd be putting on all the time. And it is February, and here in Texas, winter is basically almost over, and the time and place for this fragrance has passed. So this is in second place. I still want to get a bottle of this, probably just a 1 ounce, because I don't think I'd be wearing it too much, nor do I think you need to spray a ton of this on. So I decided to pass up on this fragrance for now. Top of all of that, this 1 ounce is $76, so I didn't honestly think it was the greatest deal. I think you could probably get the bottle at a VIB sale for less than what this box cost. So I think I'm going to wait on this and probably pick it up next fall. I think that's the best time for it. Before I tell you which fragrance I did pick up, which based off of what's left, most people I guess would know. I actually want to go over these. I don't think people mention how similar these are. In my mind, these are very similar. They don't open the same nor dry down the same, but the middle of these fragrances to me are almost exactly the same. What I would mention though is this one opens super woody and then gets soft and creamy, and I think people really like this. And this is definitely more of an exact kind of by the fireplace smell, whereas this one is just like a smoky woody vanilla. Um, it, but they vibe the same, like very similar. And for me, I don't know that I would need both. That's part of my issue. However, this one performs way better than this one. I only got like 4 hours out of this one, whereas I think I got close to 10 hours with this. By about 7 hours, it was a skin scent, but it just keeps lasting and you can smell it on your skin. Both of these, I think, aren't big projection monsters. This one projects pretty well for like the first hour. Maybe the first half hour. But they are, while they're both really interesting and very different, the mid where you smell them, I feel like the most, they are very similar. So while I still really want both of them, I'm back and forth on which one I would actually pick. And I think I would probably get more wear out of this one because there's something intriguing and unique about this in a way that like it could be worn. I would even say in the spring, not the summer, probably not the summer, but definitely in the spring, whereas this is a very specific case use. Like the only time I can really think of picking this up is in that fall and winter time, on very specific occasions. This is not a fragrance that you just put on and like go grocery shopping and like I don't think if I smelled someone like walking around smelling like a campfire in the middle of Target, I'd be like, what on earth? So this, I think, would be worn less frequently. And for that reason, I think I might still get a 1 ounce bottle because I'm crazy. But I would definitely pick up a bottle of this because it gives me a very similar feeling to By the Fireplace. And I don't think these have been compared before. So I just wanted to stop my little description of all of these and give you a little mini comparison there. So the bottle I picked was Juliette Has a Gun's Vanilla Vibes. So there's several reasons. First off, this is like the freshest vanilla. It is not like anything else I have in my collection. I've got a lot of other like gourmand vanillas, woody vanillas, and we're heading into spring and summer, and I'm really looking forward to summer. I'm kind of over winter. I know for some people it really has sort of just started, but I really wanted something different, and for me this felt really different to anything else in my collection. Also, going back to value, this is $135. So it's nearly twice as much as the box cost. So this is by far the best deal, but that's not like really the only reason. Ultimately, it came down to which one I like the best. And for me, this is the best salty vanilla I have smelled. So I've tested, I think, 3 different salty vanillas. I actually had some full-size samples of Olympia and Olympia Intense, and I'm trying to think of, I believe I smelled another salty vanilla, and I was unimpressed by that one. But of the Olympias, the original Olympia, I liked far more than the Intense. The Intense was just too thick and heavy, and I actually considered getting Olympia, but it was still a little too much. It felt a little dense and heavy and didn't feel like a summer fragrance to me. But this to me is like the perfect summer vanilla. I think it is light enough and fresh enough. So I'm going to go over the main accords. So this is vanilla, salty, powdery, sweet, amber, marine, warm, spicy, woody, balsamic, and musky. The top notes are salt, middle notes of vanilla absolute and orchid, base notes of tonka bean, sandalwood, musk, and benzoin. I think what keeps this from feeling too heavy in my eyes is that orchid. There's like some floral freshness to this fragrance that keeps it from feeling heavy. Both of the Olympias felt really heavy to me, and I wanted something that for the summertime that seemed a little aquatic and a little beachy, like that salty air kind of smell, without being too heavy. Vanilla is not a fragrance that I typically think of for the summer. I think of that as a heavier, more dense kind of scent and something that might get cloying in the summer. But I think this one, because of the orchid, it seemed a lot lighter to me. And so this was my choice for the box, and I'm really happy with it. It's not the time of year, really, for this fragrance, but we're heading into it, and this is like my hopeful fragrance. I can't wait to wear this when we're by the pool, just hanging out as a family. I think this will be a really nice, kind of comforting summer scent. So that's what I went with. So that's my video on the Sephora Favorites vanilla set. I'm really happy with my choice. I want to know, do you guys ever pick up these Sephora sets? I think they're a really great deal. Did you guys get this vanilla one? Which fragrance did you choose? If you didn't, what fragrance would you choose? Or what's your favorite vanilla? Are there specific vanilla fragrances that you just absolutely love? I just filmed a KAYALI Vanilla 28 unboxing, so that's another vanilla fragrance for you. If you want to watch that, I'll link that up above or down below. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like, and I really hope you stick around. I have so many other videos planned for the rest of this year, so if you're interested in what I'm doing, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. I hope you've had a blessed day. Bye.